we are doing Talk Time with Daddy.
Talk time.
Talk Time with Daddy. We haven't...
There's some screaming in the background, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
So it's talk time. But it's really talk time with Daddy and Penny. Are you putting your shoes on the brand new table? Dab. So
Wait,
what was the topic going to be?
So, the topic today is, what is life?
What is life?
What is life?
And this came up because we were on the way to school the other day.
And I came up in bed. I came up with when I was trying to go to sleep.
When you were trying to go to sleep, you were wondering, and then you brought it up that morning or the next morning on the way to school, and I was like, this would be a really interesting thing to like have a little video about, like sort of just our ideas
Also,
about
guys,
what life is.
Warning, from time to time, I will check the camera and stop the video.
Well, why are you doing that?
Just so we can make sure everything's fine.
Everything's fine. I'm confident. I have
Okay.
no doubts.
So
Let's keep it rolling.
Let's get on to the first question. What happens when you die?
Right, and so then we had some different ideas about what happens when you die. Like,
So basically, first theory. I'm gonna tell you the two theories that I like. But
okay.
first,
Yeah?
I want to tell you guys something. So I like explaining stuff, and I notice I can explain stuff on YouTube. So that's what I'm doing.
That's fun.
And
But I'm not sure if in this one we're really explaining anything. We're just sort of like, it's just different ideas, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so basically,
What happens when you die?
on the cover it said questions and answers. I mean, it's not exactly 100% an answer, but it's answers. That
Of
you
a
could
sort.
say.
Right.
Of a sort. Theories.
Ideas.
So, so basically, for our first one, is
What happens when you die? And so
Yeah.
one idea is like,
first one is past life and future life.
oh, right, that you actually have multiple lives and that you're in your current life,
But
you don't know that you had a previous and you don't know that you're going to have a next.
You will have a next. If
Right.
this is true.
If it was true, or if it's true that there are past lives and future lives, then you would have a next. So that's one sort of theory of what happens when you die, which is kind of an interesting way of trying to go about explaining what is life.
And why it
You're
feels
explaining life by explaining death.
and why you can't and why you think you've never had a past life is because you cannot remember a single thing from it.
Right. Like when you die and then you come back, everything from your previous life is just wiped.
It's like when you're born, you can't remember anything. It's like that.
Right.
You can't remember anything.
Right.
Okay, theory number 2 that I also agree with is if you go to heaven.
Right. There could be a heaven.
There could be a heaven that God's living. And
Right.
they say that you can do anything in heaven.
Like all the ice cream you want.
Yeah.
Or all the videos you want.
As Sammy,
What would Bella's heaven be? Bella's our silly dog.
who is Bella here?
She's out in the yard sniffing.
Bella! Okay, guys, we're gonna get Bella on this. I don't know if you can see Bella right now.
I don't know.
Guys,
Bella, come here. There's a good girl. There, we'll try to pick her up a little bit. Oh, she doesn't want to get picked up. There she is. That's Bella.
there's
You're
Bella.
a good girl. All right.
I think her heaven would be tons of treats, ball throwing, and walks.
And lots of counters with food on them.
Yeah, like,
Because she's always eating the food on the
and
counters.
she would always, and she could jump up onto the counter, and
Right.
Like-
But so then,
like this.
right.
Like this.
It's an interactive video. So then we were saying, well, if there's heaven, then there could also be hell, and that's a bummer.
But actually, my Oma said,
What did Oma
you
say?
have to be super bad. And she said that even if you kill Jesus, you're not good enough to go to the underworld.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. So even the people that crucified Jesus did not have to go to hell.
Nope.
Wow, that's an interesting interpretation of the Bible. But I would defer to Oma on that. She knows more about those things than I do.
Why are you saying that?
Well, we're having a video talking about these things.
Okay, so
We're not saying
next
this in a mean way.
theory. Next theory.
Okay, what was the next theory?
Next theory that I agree with.
Oh,
We need to take the science behind this. The science behind the past life and future life is that basically, like, you go into another life. You can't remember the past life. I can't remember the science of it.
I don't know if there's a science, there's just a theory. A science would be something you could test and prove or try to prove.
It's kind of science. So the kind of science in heaven is God. Because
Okay.
I don't know how you're supposed to make up a holy Bible that's 3,000 pages long,
If there wasn't somebody really intelligent doing it.
and you made about half and a quarter of the world believe it.
Well, it's an interesting thought. But, you know, lots of people believe in lots of things. You know, people used to believe the world was flat.
It is not, people.
I know, but the church used to get people in trouble if they said the world was flat. Isn't that amazing? Anyway.
That's good. The
I'm
world
sure
is
some
not
people still believe the world's flat. I'm not one of those people. So let's see. Then the next thing, which I thought was really interesting, is the idea that
black screen, you see nothing, you feel nothing, you have no senses, and you're in a dream that you can't remember at all. It's like when you wake up, you can't remember your dream. That's basically what it feels like. That was a fast one.
that was a fast one. So that is to say, when you die, there is just nothingness.
The science behind that is that just your brain shuts down.
Yeah, if your brain shuts
Shuts
down,
down.
then there is nothing.
Shuts down.
Right. Now, one of the other thoughts that we talked about was more on the nature of life was that some people have theorized that we are actually all just living in a simulation.
Yeah, virtual reality, and when we
That
die,
our reality as we perceive it is in itself a virtual reality.
and once we die, we go into the real world.
I don't know if that's what the theory says.
Then what does it say?
Well, I think it's just like think of when you play Minecraft, right? What happens when you quit your Minecraft game? What happens to all those characters that were in the game?
They just pause.
So maybe that's what happens. Maybe everything just pauses
Okay.
in this incredibly complex, or at least
Also-
incredibly complex to us,
Also,
theory of life.
another one.
What's the next?
Another one
Yeah.
is that that we go into a dream, an infinite dream that keeps on going. It's
Huh.
basically like heaven, except it's like your own heaven.
Huh. Okay.
Okay, video check.
We're checking the video, so just hang out,
Hang out,
put on a
hang out.
song, get yourself a cup of coffee. Now we're recording
We're
again.
back with part number 2.
We're doing part 2. I didn't even know there was a part 2.
It's our second question.
What's our second question?
Our second question
I did not know we
is,
had a second question.
Will
so
God, this
I'm
is the short
completely
one.
unprepared for this.
Will God let us go to another planet?
Right. So this series
I made up that
this
theory.
series of video of YouTube videos is
I made
more
that.
like
I made that.
theology with Henry and Daddy. It's like where theology meets science. These are really interesting big questions. So your question, if I can just restate it for you or with you, is
Can we go to other planets?
if there's a God,
Can we live on
then
other
would-
planets?
that God allow us to go to another planet
And live on
and
it.
live on it. Now,
Because
I
he-
have to ask you this: why is your concern that because in the Christian or the Judeo-Christian faith and a lot of faiths of the world that God created this world
Just-
specifically for us, and so God could potentially be displeased if we tried to go live on other worlds.
So he'd block it from us.
Is that sort of the
Yes,
the point?
yes.
Huh.
He
I had
thinks we
never
should
never
just
in my whole life considered this.
and take care of this planet.
That is an amazing thought.
Or he might have made the universe all to ourselves. I think that's what he did.
He made the entire universe that we're in.
And to that he basically owns.
Uh-huh.
But he sold it to us. Let's say he sold it to free for us.
Okay.
Let's
All right.
say
It was a gift.
It was a gift. It was a gift from the god.
Okay. So he might not like it if we didn't do a good job of taking care of the gift, and then ruined it to the extent that we had to find some other planet to live on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope we don't ruin our planet.
No.
That would be a bummer.
Not me either, of course.
Well, that's a really interesting question, and it's not one I've considered before. Now, there is this this entrepreneur, businessman, Elon Musk. Have you heard of him before?
Mm-hmm.
And he is really interested in seeing manned missions to Mars. That is, sending live humans in spaceships to Mars.
Okay, on to our next. Actually, they're gonna need a lot of fuel for that.
They would need a lot of fuel. You know what? I've heard they're going to do it in a couple stages. They would send a ship, a spaceship on its own, and that one would have a lot of the supplies they would need when they got there. And then they would send the next ship with the astronauts on it.
Ooh.
And I think for the return trip, I think they were going to actually have to make the fuel for their rocket on Mars.
What?
That was one of the things I heard, that they were going to make the fuel from the Martian atmosphere.
And also use the fuel from the supply.
Yeah, and stuff from the supplies. Anyway, what else were we going to talk about in terms of other planets?
On to our next question. This might be our last question, guys.
Okay, that's all right.
Because I can't exactly remember the other ones.
All right.
But
I can't wait to find out what this next question is.
the question is, what even is life?
Well, Henry, we just did that in part 1.
Bella! I was trying to find a way to get my food.
Oh.
Bella, you trying to find my food?
Bella was trying to find heaven, which for Bella is getting food off the counters. But Henry, we just did like a whole part 1 about what is life.
Well, that part, the part is in the same episode. It's in the same YouTube episode. That was just the first question and the first pause.
Okay, so what are we supposed to talk about now?
What even is life?
I really don't know. It's a huge question.
It's
You know
a
what we could
huge
do?
question.
You know what we could do, Henry? We could research that question a little bit. And then in part 3, we could come up with some other ideas of what life could be.
In part 3. In our third episode.
Yeah. What do you think? Is that a good idea? Should we thank our viewers for hanging out with us on our back porch?
Yep. Thank you guys for searching up this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and forget to 10 likes on this video. That would be amazing.
That would be pretty amazing.
And I wish you all an amazing, incredible, impeccable day. And goodbye. Did I say it?